Hey, how's it going out there, folks? The Philosopher's Stone, back at you with another vid. Yeah, I figured I'd do a little driving video today. I haven't did one of those in a long time. It's a funny thing, right? I guess we're gonna call it the algorithm, but every time I do a video, right, of a topic of my choosing, seems like I get a bunch of videos pop up on my YouTube feed. I guess it's the algorithm, right? Anyways, with that being said, the Matrix of Illusion. The Matrix of Illusion. It's got such a nice ring to it, you know? Because it's truly what it is. It's just an illusion, man. And people say, what do you mean it's an illusion? Like an optical illusion? Exactly, an optical illusion. Because everything is going on inside your head. Just like I said before in other videos. YouTube, how your vision works. Light comes in through your eyes and travels to the back of your head, and basically your visual cortex or your optical cortex, whatever it's called, lights up in the back of your head. So you're seeing from the back of your head. That's where it lights up. And the thing is, man, we were like, well, how does that even make sense? Well, what happens is that we're decoding reality through our five senses. Everybody's perception is different. Everybody sees the world differently, man. Although we can all see the same things, each person sees it differently. Like if you're driving along and someone points out something like, oh, you see that rock over there, you see that tree or whatever, you look and now you can see it, right? Sometimes you would miss it unless someone pointed it out to you, right? But then people say, well, how is everybody sort of like, if there's, you know, a mall or a store or whatever, how does everybody see all the same stuff? It's a collective, right? It's a collective agreement, a collective consciousness that we've all agreed on, right? And this is the thing, man. It goes so deep because it's a belief system too, and everything else, man. When people say, I can't believe my eyes, if something shows up in the reality that they don't want to see, right? Or, oh man, it's so funny because like an illusion, like anything else, it's like if a magician does a trick, right? It's an illusion, it's a trick. And once you understand how it's done, it's like, oh, that's pretty lame, right? It's like anything else, man. You know, the illusion of the Matrix is basically a programming system that's been fed to you throughout the years through things that you've been focusing on. Most of us have focused on the news. Most of us has focused on certain TV sitcoms, programs, right? Most of us have listened to music. The music industry is a fucking scam too, man. So I hate to say it because I love music, but it goes a lot deeper than some of the shit that they're pushing out, man. That's why a lot of the stuff that you hear on the mainstream radio, they'll play the same songs over and over and over repetitively. They want to subconsciously get that into your freaking head, right? It just becomes a program. A lot of the music I used to listen to, you may have a song or two that would be played on the radio, but for the most part, you'd have to go buy the album because they wouldn't play it on the mainstream. It's just the stuff that they want you to hear, so it's programmed right into you. You know, and music is one of those things that, you know, they say, oh, you know, stereotype and all this other stuff, right? You know, you're stereotyping a person based on what kind of music they listen to. Well, it goes a long way, man, because music is very, very deeply programmed into people. I mean, if you meet someone who's like a thrash metalhead who listens to like friggin' like death metal, they've got a certain demeanor to them, a certain mentality to them, right? They're normally high-strung, aggressive people, you know. And the thing that I don't understand is, like, and obviously I haven't got it all figured out, right? This is only coming from what I know, what I've learned, right? Nobody knows for sure. But you take like I say, a band, right? So I'll use say Metallica, because Metallica is one of my favorite bands, or Kiss, right? Kiss are still going. Jeez, man, they you know, it's 50 plus years, whatever. Like Kiss, still singing the same songs over and over and over again. I'm thinking to myself, how can you just sing the same shit over and over again and not get bored of it? And you know, like Metallica has got some aggressive lyrics and some deep dark lyrics, and how does that not make them depressed by singing the same stuff over and over and over again? I know if I was to listen to this old friggin' albums of Metallica from 1980, I'd be like friggin' aggressive and angry, because it just, that's what it would do to me. It's almost like they can detach themselves from that, you know? Like movie actors. People say, well, how come, well, people are acting in movies and stuff like that, how come they're not creating that? I used to ask this to people who were teaching this stuff on manifesting and how you use your imagination and how act as if, you know, and you'll bring that into your reality. And I say, well, how come actors don't create certain things in their life? How come if an actor's, you know, acting that they have like cancer or something like that, how come they don't manifest cancer into their life, right? And they say, oh no, they can detach themselves from that. They know they're only acting. I don't know, man. That manifesting community, man, I think is a bit of a scam, a bit of a fraud. They want to just get people to buy into it like friggin' snake oil salesman, you know what I mean? I mean, I see things pop up in reality, like coincidences and certain things like I'll see, right? And I notice, like, I want to buy into the mirror reflection of, like, yeah, it'll reflect back to you what your consciousness is putting out. You know, what's going on inside yourself, man. I've seen evidence of that, so I'm sold on that. But, you know, this matrix of illusion, like, you know, they just place filters over your true authentic self, your true reality, because before you knew any of this stuff, when you're just like young and you're not programmed with all this freaking jargon, man, life has felt more freeing, man. You had all kinds of ambitions, and you wanted to be this and you wanted to be that, and you knew what you wanted to do with your life. Like when I was younger, man, I wanted to be a mechanic, and I wanted to, you know, I always loved like filming stuff, and so I mean, that was something that I enjoyed to do. I never did become a mechanic. I guess I'm a sort of a half-ass mechanic. I mean, I can repair certain things and stuff like that, but I never made it a profession of mine, right? And like anything else, man, like, you know, what you're being fed on a daily basis is going to program you and program your reality to filter out certain things so that you see things in a certain way. And you know, although it's not, you know, the fear-based propaganda that they push out, nothing is ever positive on the news, realistically. All I ever see is politicians, corrupt politicians, and wars and stabbings and car wrecks, and that's all they want to show you on the friggin' news. So I don't even look at it, man. But a lot of people are faithful to it. They want to look at it in the morning. They want to look at it at night, right? It's programming. They want you to see what they want you to see. So it just takes people away from their true authentic self to be able to create and to be able to mold the reality of their choosing, when it's a lot harder to do when you've been given, you know, a script that most people play by, saying, okay, well, this is the way it is, right? And I've said this in other videos too, and I'll continue to say it, right? This is how the script goes. This is how the Matrix script goes, right? We go through schooling, and you go and do YouTube on the schooling, how that was all set up back in the years. right? It was a form of control. It was indoctrination into the system. They wanted to basically brainwash kids into thinking a certain way, and they didn't want them thinking for themselves. They fed them literature out of certain textbooks that everybody, in the classroom would have to partake in. Shit that I didn't want to learn. I didn't care for history. I didn't care for a lot of the stuff that these teachers were pushing out to me. And then they would test you on it to see how much you could remember. It's such a friggin' farce, man. And you do this all through for 12 years of your life, man. Being fed all this shit. And a lot of it, you don't even need to use in real life. And then they take it one step further, and then you'll go to college or you go to university, and then you'll put yourself in debt right away with student loans, and right, and that was it. The storybook picket fence life, and that was the story that was fed to the masses, and that's what everybody thought they had to do because the parents did it, and everybody else was doing it. And in order to be successful in life, you have to graduate. And you have to go to college or university, or you have to get a trade, and you have to find a good job that has lots of benefits, and you do that, and then you have to go out and buy a car, or finance a car, or lease a car, and then you have to mortgage a house, and then you have to get married, and then you have to have kids, and then to have them do the same thing until you get to a certain point where you've got enough money to retire. And then you can enjoy the next 10 or 15 years of your life, depending on what health condition that you're in, right? That's the matrix, man. That's the programming system that has been installed. It's a control system, man. And it goes way beyond that. That's just the start of it, man. It goes so much deeper than all that shit, man. It's all programming and control, obey, and do as you're told, and they got to keep the masses under control in one way or another, because God forbid if people could think for themselves and understand their true power to be able to program themselves to think a certain way, and program themselves to become successful, and program themselves. Certain people do it, right? Not a lot, but certain people do. Majority of the people don't. And this is the thing, man. A lot of people don't get to have this realization because they're just too distracted, just too busy with living that matrix lifestyle, life. And they want to say, well, I'm happy and I got a good job and a great family and all this stuff. Sure. I mean, yeah, exactly. But deep down inside, there's something going on. Back of your head, that you're being controlled, and you know that you're a slave to your life. You know that if you don't have that job that you're working towards every day, that you get up and go to, and you punch in, and if you lose that job, you lose everything. As simple as that. So they got you in that regards. And that's the way it's been designed, man. It's been designed that way for friggin' years and years and years. But it's all a friggin' illusion, man. It's all a play on perception. All it all depends on what you're focusing on. If you were a person who lived out in the friggin' wilderness and had no TV and no access to internet and nothing like that, and you just had your thing, your life, where you lived a simple life and cut your own wood and had a little cabin and maybe had a dog and a truck and whatever it is to get around, and you knew nothing of the outside world, what they were pushing out at you, you'll be totally different, right? You'd feel free at that point. You never feel free when you get all this stuff bombarded into you, especially in a city. You go, there's advertisement everywhere, man. It's all advertisement. It's all a way to program you subconsciously, because it's just in your face. Even if you're not focused on it, it's still there. You're still picking up on it. Buy this, buy that. Consumerism and conformity and, follow the masses and live in blissful ignorance and don't question anything and just do as you're told and you'll be just fine. You'll be just like everybody else. And then certain people say, no, I ain't doing that. I don't want to do that. I know better. I know when I'm being controlled. I know when I'm, being fed a false set of beliefs, and then it goes beyond that. It's what you were taught through your parents and your friends and your teachers, and disciplinary action. And school felt like a prison. To me, it was built like a prison. And, it's like anything else, man. Kids these days got iPhones in front of their faces at a young age. I mean, what can a teacher teach a student that an iPhone can't? All the information is there now. It's just a way for the parents to, it's like a daycare for the parents to put them in school while they go out and they slave 9 to 5 in the Matrix, and then kids are being programmed in school by some other person teaching them a bunch of shit jargon. And that's the way it is, man. It's a corrupt system. It's all designed that way to keep people from thinking for themselves and being their authentic selves, and just taking their power back and having some sense of freedom in this life to do and choose whatever you want. And there's 2 ways to do it. Either become financially successful and live your life to your choosing, or if you can't become financially successful, then you have to go the other way and minimalize the shit out of your life and make it cost effective. You may have to live like a bum. You may have to just live a rough life, man, but at least you got your friggin' peace, at least you got your freedom, and at least you got your own way of thinking, and you don't have to report to anybody, and nobody's got control over you in regards to, like, if you don't come to work, then you lose your job, and they got control over your life at that point, right? And now as time rolls on, and you want to go skip ahead to 2030 with everything happening, and like they're talking about the UBI, the Universal Basic Income, giving $2,000 a month out to people, right? There's going to be stipulations on that. Of course there is. The whole thing of it is because AI are going to be taking a lot of jobs from people down the road, and they're going to have to give the people something to keep them going. And the goal is by 2030 is for them to own everything. The government. You'll own nothing and you'll be happy. You'll have your, little bit of money that's going to be given to you. And that money, apparently, from what I know, is going to be part of a FedNow. Like you'll get a FedNow card, which is tied into the government, the federal government, which just goes through your banks. So even banks, I think, are on their way out. A lot of banks are going to be on their way out as well. But basically, because of the way everything is being implemented with electric cars and GPSing and just total domination and control and cameras, and they're watching your every move. Now they're going to be controlling the way you spend money. Right? They'll give that money out freely for a little bit, and then they'll put the tap on it and they'll say, well, no, you can't spend because your social credit score is not where it should be. You can only buy this, but you can't buy that, and you're cut off from this amount of spending and whatever. They got control over that as well, man. You don't think they know what they're doing? These people have been doing this stuff for decades. They know how to control the masses. They have been controlling the masses for a long, long time. And this is just another form of control, but they make it into like an illusion. Like the think, oh God, I'm just going to get $2,000 a month, and they make it look like, oh, they're going to, so people come out of poverty and all this other shit. No, man, it's not. It's just another freaking form of control. 15-minute cities. This is all part of it, right? And there's only like a few that are going to be able to escape from this whole friggin' illusion of a matrix illusion, right? This control, this. And once you realize that you do have the power to craft and create the reality that you want, not by being immersed in the matrix, by knowing that you have the power to do so. But it takes a lot of deprogramming. It takes a lot of like becoming aware and awake and understanding, like having a high sense of awareness of what's going on and being able to look over, you know, taking a higher perspective on life and seeing how everything is sort of coming together, seeing the big picture, so to speak. And there's going to be very few that can pull out of it, man. And this is the thing. But I'm 20 minutes into this video, so with that being said, we'll leave her at that. Thanks for tuning in. Take it easy.